I keep my goals to myself, cause whenever I share it with folks, they get a look upon their face and their memory floats to a time where their goals and the stars.
What's good? It's your boy Jay, that's me. We're going to get into NXT from February the 17th, 2026. NXT is in a rebuilding stage, as we can plainly see. So I am going to give Shawn Michaels and company a bit of grace and mercy. I like what they're doing in aspects of trying to push new guys, but they don't need to push guys like Shiloh Hill, right? Like, Shiloh Hill doesn't have it. And I don't understand, why they're trying to push Shiloh Hill. I don't get it. I get it, he won LFG Season 2, but who cares? That's not really important. But this show was, to me, I would say a mixed bag of a show, where I liked some stuff on this show and then some stuff I did not like. I like what they're doing with Ricky Sainz and Joe Hendry. We knew that was going to be the program going forward, because there's so many new guys that just aren't ready yet, and they have to be developed and refined before, they get into the main event scene of NXT. So, there's that. I like what they're doing with Kalani Jordan and Lola Vice. I like that. Breaking news, Jada Parker is going to be out for a little bit. She suffered a neck injury, so we send her our best wishes, and we wish her a speedy recovery. Neck injuries are no joke, so I don't know how that happened to her, but we wish her all the best. And it was mentioned on NXT. It was mentioned on this show. So we don't know how that happened. Don't know. But it's scary. She's young. And that's the thing about it. She's young, and this is a real serious injury. So hopefully she can make a full recovery and come back better than ever. So we're going to get into NXT. So we kicked the show off with the first match of the night. Kalani Jordan defeats Lola Vice. This match was pretty decent for the most part. Lola obviously injured her hand. Kalani Jordan attacked her hand 2 weeks ago in the triple threat match with Izzy Dame and I can't remember the other participant. I can't remember. It escapes me. But, that's when this feud began, basically. So Kalani Jordan got the win. I like what they're doing with Kalani Jordan. She won via a modified short arm scissors, which is great. It looked great, and Lola tapped out. I thought they were going to have her pass out, but she tapped out, which makes sense. And I really am interested in seeing where they go with this heel character with Kalani Jordan. I feel like she's now coming into her own being a heel, and I like it. I really do. She got a good bit of boos when she won, which makes sense. So clearly she's over when it comes to being a heel, and I like it. I don't know where you could put her at on the card, because the championship right now with JC Jane, she's top heel right now. You can't put her and have her go after the Women's North American Championship, because that's occupied by a heel as well in Izzy Dame. So she's your second top heel. So I don't know what you do with Kalani going forward. I don't know. But I like what they're doing with her, though. I like her. All right, moving on from that. So, we get some Dark State stuff backstage. So, Dark State, they're talking backstage. Deon Lennox says that Tony D'Angelo is taking nothing from them. Cutler James promises to make Tony D regret ever coming back to NXT. Deon Lennox tells Osiris and Saquon to keep close eyes on the the 4-way number 1 contenders match. And him and Cutler will take out Tony D'Angelo. Okay, that's fine. Moving on from that, Ricky Saints and Joe Hendry, they get into a brief parking lot brawl, which is what I like. So that's pretty cool. Moving on from that, this leads us into a backstage interview with Shiloh Hill and Sarah Schreiber. So he says that his mind's racing tonight. Shiloh can feel the toothless aggression setting in. He's done his research on Ethan Page. He's cocky, talks a big game, but the annoying part is that he can back it up too. After watching all of his matches, Shiloh knows that he can counter every move Ethan Page dishes out. So Hank and Tank, they show up. They begin to hype up Shiloh Hill. Shiloh says that there's a unique type of attachment when it comes to him. In the NXT North American Championship, no matter what Ethan does, there is one solution. One constant, one resolution. Shiloh Hill is the next NXT North American Champion. Hank and Tank then call Shiloh weird, but the good kind of weird. Again, I don't give a single fuck about Shiloh Hill. I really don't. I'm not a fan of Shiloh Hill. I'm just not. I don't know what they're doing with him. I don't know why they're trying to push him. I get it. He's new. I get it. And I get he's big and burly, but who gives a damn? Like, he's not it, man. He's just not it. I'm not into him. I'm not. I'm really not. I don't get his character. Trying to be this conspiracy theorist, hacker, backwards hillbilly, God rest his soul, Bray Wyatt, right? Like, I don't get it. Like, go back to the drawing board and figure out what you really want to do with this guy. But what they're doing with him right now is not it. It ain't it, Sean. It ain't it. Moving on. So Tony D'Angelo, he had a backstage promo. He said, Dark State, when you got to NXT, you targeted me. Now I got all 4 of you looking over your shoulder. And Cutler James, I'm not surprised that you were the one to step up to the plate, given his amateur wrestler background. He saw how successful he was at Duke University. Damn, that's what's up. But then he got involved with the wrong crowd. Unfortunately for you, he doesn't care. He wants to make sure that Dion Lennox is watching tonight. In Dark State, you took everything from me. And starting tonight, he's going to do the same to them. Okay, that's fine. I like that. Moving on, this leads us into Joe Hendry. He's out next. So he calls out Ricky Saints. He's not in a singing mood. He's not in a dancing mood. He just wants to... he's in a kicking Ricky Saints' ass all around the arena type of mood. I like that. Love that. So Joe Hendry showed some grit here. He was very serious, which I like. And this is the serious version of Joe Hendry that we need to get every so often. Like, this is something that I could buy into. Like, this is the side of Joe Hendry that we need to see. And this was a really good back and forth promo here between Joe Hendry and Ricky Saints. So, Ricky basically put over Joe Hendry. He talked shit to the crowd. He said that it makes him sick to see to see Joe with the NXT Championship. He says that he's a meme wrestler and that the title just belongs to a social media star, and he's a real WWE superstar. He says that Joe Hendry is a loser, an everyday man, but being an everyday man doesn't make you worthy of being a champion. I like that line. So they continue to bicker back and forth, basically. Ricky continues to put over Joe Hendry, what he's done so far in WWE, his Royal Rumble experience, his WrestleMania match with Randy Orton, and even him being a 2K DLC character in 2K26. Ricky says that he's damn gifted, that being him. Ricky says that as the NXT champion, he worked too hard to elevate NXT, and he'll be damned if he's gonna let anybody like Joe Hendry ruin it. So, Ricky Saints then challenges Joe Hendry to a match of the title on Saturday, March 7th, Vengeance Day. It's gonna be Joe Hendry versus Ricky Saints. And Joe Hendry says that he's going to have no problem kicking Ricky Saints' punk ass at Vengeance Day. So I like that. This makes sense. Thank the creator above that we are getting Vengeance Day. I don't know why they pushed it back to March, because normally it's in February, but it's fine. It makes sense. We don't know where it's gonna be, and we don't know where it's gonna take place. Like, this could take place in the Performance Center. We don't know when the Peacock deal is up. I think the Peacock deal would probably be up probably at the end of the month, if we're being honest. Because we're basically in the third week of February. So, I don't know, man. Like, it's great that we are getting this match there. It makes sense. You got more than enough time to build it. You got 2 weeks to kind of build. 2.5 weeks to build it. So, I like that. There should be other matches on the card anyway. So that's good. All right, moving on. This leads us into Tony D'Angelo absolutely destroying Cutler James. Like, this didn't even last but no more than about 90 seconds. Like, this was really good. I love the fucking intensity within Tony D. Like, Tony D was serious. He came in there, kicked ass, and he did a bunch of German suplexes, ended up hitting the forget about it for the 1, 2, 3. This was great. Post-match, Dark State attempted to attack Tony D, but it failed. Tony D ended up beating the shit out of Dark State. Tony D was about to crush the knee of Cutler James, and then Deion Lennox made the save, and the heels scurried away. So I like that. I like what they're doing with Tony D. I do like the seriousness of Tony D. It's starting to grow on me. I am giving this a little bit of grace and mercy. Because why? I've always been a fan of Tony D. And I like the serious aspect of the character. Especially him wrestling like this. You can tell this is serious. So I like this. This is great. Tony D looks great. I like it. I really do. But my thing is, what is the end goal of Tony D? So, are you going to put him in the NXT title picture? And I think they will, because it makes sense. I'm a fan of Joe Hendry, but I don't expect for Joe Hendry to be champion long. He more than likely will lose it at Stand and Deliver in April. So he'll lose it there. He'll probably get caught up to the main roster. And I think that's it. Because Joe Hendry doesn't need to be in NXT long. You know, he's been there for a little bit, but he doesn't need to be there too long. So, you know, we'll have to wait and see how this plays out. Moving on. This leads us into the Ethan Page and the Vanity Project. They're backstage. So Ethan Page is basically giving his little bros advice and everything else. So Myles Borne shows up. Him and Ethan Page, they go back and forth. Ethan Page doesn't want to face Myles Borne at all. He's over it. He's done with him, basically, because he's not going to change his mind about giving him a title shot or whatever. He said that Myles doesn't have that killer instinct. So, because Myles just showed him frustration. So, Ricky Saints then shows up. He says that Myles is the realest person he's ever met. Ricky then puts over Ethan Page and his homies. Ricky says that after Vengeance Day, they're all going to be champions. And then he knows that Ethan Page is going to break the record for the most successful title defenses tonight. Ethan Page says that Ricky Saints is absolutely right. Okay, that's fine. Moving on, this leads us into the Fatal 4-Way. The entire NXT Tag Team Division, Hank and Tank, OTM, The Calling, and the Vanity Project. The Vanity Project ended up winning. This was an okay match. It was insane when they did the triple suplex. Each team did, a suplex. That was pretty cool. But having the Vanity Project win is kind of dumb because Dark State is heel. The Vanity Project, their heel. The Calling, their heel. The only babyface team here is Hank and Tank. So I don't know. I mean, we know the Vanity Project is not winning next week anyway. But whatever. I don't give a shit about this. So we had a Keanu Carver vignette, which was great. Talked about how he grew up in Washington, and how, you know, his coaches, he was hard to get along with and deal with. Coaches couldn't deal with it. They couldn't teach him anything. Too vicious, basically. No one could teach him anything. Not in NXT. Not even in college. When he was playing D1 football. So I like that. I like what they're doing with Keanu Carver. He's great. Good stuff. Guy's got a chip on his shoulder. Story is actually kind of relatable, basically. So I do like, you know, what they're doing with Keanu Carver. He kicks ass. So good stuff. I forgot to mention, we also had a Calling vignette earlier on, right before the Tony D'Angelo and Cutler James match. Don't give a fuck about it. It's just saying that we are getting Izzy Dame versus Tatum Paxley at Vengeance Day. That's fine. But this match needs to be a stipulation. It's got to. So we should get an answer to that within the coming weeks. Moving on. This leads us into Joe Hendry. He's backstage talking to Robert Stone. So Joe Hendry wants to know where Ricky Saints is. He didn't want to wait for Vengeance Day. So Robert Stone says that Joe Hendry is going to have to wait because he kicked out Ricky Saints out of the building. Plus, Robert Stone has to be fair. Joe Hendry attacked Saints in the parking lot. So he's asking him to leave the building as well. So, Sol Ruca runs into Zaria. So Zaria tells Sol Ruca to piss off. She's sick and tired of her stealing all of her title opportunities. Zaria says that this friendship has been one-sided this entire time. Last week was the final straw. Zaria says she's done being used in her friendship. Zaria tells Sol Ruca that she can fight Fatal Influence by herself, and when she's done with that, she can go to hell. So I do like this. This makes sense. Then this leads us into Fatal Influence. They come out next. JC Jane has a really good promo. She puts herself over. She says that she is jealous of Sol Ruca, basically. She put herself over about how she held both the NXT Women's Championship and the TNA Knockouts Championship at the same time. She was holding both brands together. She put over Stephanie Vacker. Val Henley continues to put over Jessie Jane. So she was pissed that she couldn't be on Saturday Night's Main Event for John Cena's last match ever. She had to wait. She had to watch everything, at home on her couch. So she was pissed off that she got the infamous call. She was going to go debut in the Rumble. But the only thing she heard on that 13-hour flight back was how Sol Ruca was in the final three. So, basically, they continue to yap on. Sol Ruca comes out. She said that she's heard enough. She says there's no one else who's more envious about the people's success and accomplishments than JC Jane. So, she's not going to stand by and let her talk about her friendship with Zaria. So, both of them continue to go back and forth, basically. Then JC slaps Sol Ruca. Fatal Influence, they beat up Sol Ruca for a brief moment. Then Zaria shows up. It seems like she's going to attack Sol Ruca, but she doesn't. She clears house with taking out all the members of Fatal Influence. Then her and Sol, they hug, and then that was it. I'm like, what the fuck are they doing? But I see what they're doing. They are going to basically turn Zaria full-blown heel next week. Now, I was kind of pissed that they didn't turn her heel last week. But it seems like, again, they're letting us wait another week and they're going to pull the trigger. Finally. Will I care? Probably not. But next week, it's now or never. Next week, you got to shit or get off the fucking pot. You really got to. Shawn Michaels pulled the fucking trigger. Moving on, Shawn Legacy hypes up Ilio LaFleur and Eli Knight ahead of their Speed Championship tournament match. Okay, that's cool. Then this leads us into Ilio LaFleur versus Eli Knight. It was a no contest. It went to a draw, basically, which I figured it would. So, basically, Robert Stone comes out. He says that it's going to be a triple threat next week, and it's going to be a 7-minute time limit. Okay, that's fine there. It makes sense. What they need to do with Ilio LaFleur and Eli Knight is make them a fucking tag team. I know it would be makeshift, but that would be great. That would be the best thing to do with them. Clearly, they're not going to have Jasper Troy lose next week at all. It wouldn't make any sense. I do think that Jasper Troy should be somebody's heavy, but I don't know who that would be. I don't know who he could, protect. Moving on, Myles Borne runs into Charlotte Hill. They get into some words. I mean, they have some words backstage or whatever. Who cares? Moving on, this leads us into Uriah Connors. He's talking to Charlie Dempsey. So Charlie Dempsey doesn't trust Lexis King at all. Charlie and Uriah have known each other for a long time. They're cut from the same cloth. Uriah wants Charlie to think about joining Lexis's group. Charlie Dempsey walks away, so Lexis King arrives with Stax and Ariana Grace, who is now the new TNA Knockouts champion. Lexis King says the birthright is gaining ground with each passing week. Uriah tells Lexis that Charlie's still thinking about it. Lexis says that Uriah will have a chance to prove himself next week because he's going to be facing his old friend, KL Dixon. Uriah says that Stax hasn't proven anything. Stax says that he's marrying into the group, which is hilarious. Ariana tells Uriah that this is a chance to prove himself. Okay, so I like that. That's fine there. It seems that they're probably going to end up adding David Finlay to all of this because none of these guys can really talk, and these guys aren't really serious. You want this faction to be serious, you got to bring in David Finlay, right? It makes the most sense. He's the older brother of Brogan Finlay, who's the brother of, Uriah Connors, right? So it makes sense. Bring him in. I could see them bringing him in probably around Vengeance Day. That makes the most sense. And it makes sense that they are going to bring him in, right? We get it. David Finlay's got ties to AEW, but who cares? It's just Bullet Club shit. It's just New Japan shit. Who cares? So, yeah. Moving on. So, Robert Stone's talking to Fallon Henley, trying to let her know that he's trying to figure out who's going to, who she's going to face with the Women's Speed Championship. So, Uriah May, she comes into play. So, Robert Stone tells Mariah that Jada Parker's suspended, but not really. She actually has a neck injury. And then he ends up making a speed tournament match. Is going to be Thea Hale versus Mariah May. Okay, that's fine. Moving on, let's lead us into Deion Lennox. He thanks Cutler James for having his back tonight. Dark states livid about the Vanity Project. And when Dark Straight strikes, ain't nobody safe. All right, that's fine. Moving on, this leads us into Sol Ruca and Zaria. So, Zaria begins to realize that they're a great team. And honestly, they wouldn't be where they are today without each other. Zaria feels that things haven't been the same since Sol Ruca's knee injury. Zaria says that for things to get back in order, Sol Ruca has to become the NXT Women's Champion. And then Sol Ruca then asks Myles Borne if he's all right. Myles Borne says that he knows exactly what he's going to do right now. Okay, whatever, that's fine. Main event of the evening, Ethan Page retains the North American Championship with the help of the Vanity Project. So, yeah, it is what it is. Match was okay. I didn't really watch this. I really watched more so the finish. Charlotte Hill got a lot of offense in. He ended up beating the shit out of all three members of the Vanity Project, which makes sense because they're skinny twinks. Like, they look, oh, my bad. They look like they're all 18. Like, they just literally graduated high school, like, just 2 weeks ago. Literally. Like, they got no definition, no nothing. I'm like, what the hell? Like, come on, bro. Get in the fucking gym. Lift some damn weights, man. Shit. So, Ethan Page ends up winning. Then, the Vanity Project and Ethan Page, they beat up Shiloh Hill. Myles Borne comes out and makes the save. So he ends up getting a steel chair, bringing it in. He threatens to break Ethan Page's ankle, kind of like how Darby Allin threatened to break the ankle of Pac over in AEW a few weeks ago. And so Ethan Page ends up giving him the title match. And Myles Borne does viciously stomp on the chair. So, yeah. And so next week is going to be Ethan Page versus Myles Borne for the NXT North American Championship. Okay, that's fine. It seems like they probably are going to give the title to Myles Borne. That's kind of what they want to do. They've kind of built up Myles Borne for months now, basically. So, yeah. But NXT, again, like I said, it's a mixed bag. I like what they're doing with some of the talent. I like what they're doing with Joe Hendry and Ricky Saints. I like what they're doing with Fatal Influence. I like how they're still in the mix. I like what they're doing with Mariah May. I like what they're doing with her. I like what they're doing also with Zaria and Sol Ruca a little bit, because I think they have to realize this has to end, and we're finally going to get it. We're finally going to get it next week. So yeah. But all in all, NXT was okay for the most part. You know, again, it was a mixed bag. I also like what they're doing with Tony D'Angelo. I like that too. So, you know, yeah. But what did you guys think of NXT? Let me know. Like, comment, subscribe. Peace.